Wonderful. And with that sign, an official warm welcome to this community event. Absolutely amazing to see so many of you with us, but I'm not surprised given the topic and the speaker we have. AI, it is everywhere, and Erica definitely is. Someone who knows a lot about it, and not just for a couple of months now. I think you will tell us more about that, but you've been in that space for a very long time. And Erica and I just recently had a fascinating conversation about AI and transfer. And so I'm even more excited that you're with us today. So if you're just joining us, feel free to say hi in the chat and where you're joining us from. And without any further ado, I'm going to be here kind of looking at the chat. And so if you have any questions, feel free to also wave at me. But Erica, the floor is all yours.
Thank you so much. And it's just fantastic to be here. And I really appreciate the invite, Melanie. And yeah, Melanie was very kind to be one of the guests on my podcast show last week. So we're kind of yeah, it's nice to come home and do this for Melanie as well. Hopefully you should see my slides. This is what we're going to cover today: content to capability with the use of AI, as Melanie kindly talked about earlier. So we're going to be together for the next hour. And I'm excited to run this session for you because I'm going to give you three gifts today. I'm going to give you three gifts that you can take away and you can do something with. And do you know what? In a sneaky way, that means you have to stay with me for the whole session as well. That's a bit naughty, isn't it? So look out for those gifts that will be coming in the chat soon. My name's Erica Farmer. I'm a professional speaker, trainer, and author in artificial intelligence and future skills. My background is corporate learning and development, 25 years in some of the UK's largest brands, such as LV, Specsavers, British Gas, and Virgin. I'm a LinkedIn learning instructor. So I've got future skills and AI courses on the LinkedIn platform if you've ever used the LinkedIn learning piece. I'm a TEDx speaker. I've just landed my second TEDx that I'm filming in January as well. So I'm super excited for that. If you want to watch my first TEDx, it's on the TEDx platform and it's called Reforming Education with a Digital First Mindset. You can put my name into TEDx and it will come up. I'm a regular speaker at places like World of Learning. I'm speaking at the CIPD Festival of Work next week. I spend a lot of my time with clients, particularly HR, L&D, education and leadership, all in that kind of people first AI space. And as Melanie kindly said, I've been involved in learning tech and AI for quite a long time now. So it's fantastic to see so many people embracing it. And also the opportunity that we've got for lots of people to start using it in different ways and assessing how they feel about it as well. Because there's still a lot of fear out there. There's still a lot of concern out there, and rightly so. We haven't nailed this. We don't have an operations manual of telling us all what to do all of the time and how to feel and what does that mean. So, yes, we're absolutely just getting started. In the chat, out of interest, just let me know, are you using generative AI right now? Oh, just pop yourselves on mute for me. That would be great. Are you using generative AI right now? And just give me a word or two about what you're using it for. Just let me know in the chat. Let me know what you're using generative AI for right now. Oh, and thank you, Anne Marie. I'm from UK, from the south of the UK, a place called Devon. It's the place where the Brits go on holiday if they don't want to leave the country. So I've got the bit with the beaches down on the southwest coast. That's where I am. So, and Melanie's from Switzerland,
Yeah, I'm
absolutely.
more in the mountains, no beaches. Though I have a river next door, but yeah, definitely no beaches here. Just loads of mountains.
Lovely. Oh, I forgot to say, Melanie, I'm in Zurich next week, actually. So it'll be the first time over. I'm over near you. So I know you don't
Oh,
live.
and I'm in Brazil though with Regina,
Oh,
who's on the call as well. So by the way, we have Regina from Brazil also with us. So we really are spanning across the globe today in
love
the
that.
session,
Love
from
that.
Japan all the way to Brazil, and I'll be there next week with her.
Amazing. What a truly international crowd we've got. I love it. Okay, so what have we got in the chat then? So Frank says Office IT. Aman says just learning purposes and searching for a subject. Alex says session design, case study sourcing, client management. Love that. Anna Marie, oh, I've just lost you. Writing e-learning scripts, Anna Marie says. Creating plans, writing emails. Evelyn says design mail analysis. Oh, brilliant. We've got loads of stuff here. Karen says practice review sessions. Charlotte says, playing around with it, building content, looking for research sources, draft of content. Amazing. Jason says, research transfer evaluation. There we go, Jason. I know Melanie will be very happy with that. And coaching and transfer. Anybody use AI in their personal life to make their personal life a little bit easier? It's funny, you've all gone to work stuff. What do you use it for in your personal life? Let me know in the chat. And it's amazing examples that people share. And I always get something new when I ask that question as well. Random questions. What, is that a random question, or you use it for random questions? I think you're saying you're using it for random questions. Love that. Melanie says, my husband would have lots of examples, cooking questions. Alex says, planning my son's revision timetable. Very good. Frank says, is a career coach. Wally says, asking sightseeing suggestions. Nice. Aman says, coaching based on specific body of practice. Alex says, holiday plans. Love that. I pretty much use it for everything in my life. You know, I often sit and talk to my chat GPT bizarrely about stuff, ideation, coming up with new ideas, getting it to just argue against me about something. So I might think about something in a different way and not be in my comfort zone. Salim says, how to use new machines or fixing some stuff. Love that. Love that. We used to go to YouTube. We now go to ChatGPT. Fantastic. Somewhere I can vent. Yes, Pam, absolutely, absolutely. So let's get serious then. Let's look at where we are with AI globally right now. And what we're going to be covering here is kind of a wide spectrum, but all within that kind of opportunity to use AI in learning, learning transfer, evaluation, skills intelligence, and other opportunities that we might have. So anybody seen this research from Anthropic? Came out 5th of March. This is the impact, the labour market impact of AI report that Anthropic released a month or so ago. Anthropic is the owner of Claude. So some of you might start using Claude as a large language model. What this shows us is the theoretical potential use of job displacement through AI. So in the blue section, that's the jobs that are more likely, theoretically, to be displaced by artificial intelligence, according to this data. Then you look at the red stuff in the middle, the red data, that's what's actually happening. So the blue is what it could do from the most vulnerable roles that it's likely to take. The red is the roles that it is taking right now. And there's quite a difference between what's happening theoretically versus what's actually happening. What does that tell you? What's your initial response to that? Why is the current as is not quite the same level as what the possibility is in AI in certain jobs? Let me know in the chat. Why do you think there's a difference in those two sets of data right now? Why isn't AI doing everything? Let me know in the chat. I'm asking you a tough question to get you started. Alex says, like so many things, we overestimate what new tech can do. Yeah, I think there's a big piece of that. What else? Still working out how to use it. Anne-Marie says, it might not perform yet as you've had it in mind, or we don't know how to make AI, how to do it. Frank, fear in handling. Oh, we're getting somewhere now. Still needs human in the loop. Love that. People want to change, but don't want to be changed. Why else? Why else have we not just automated everything right now? What other things are we taking into mind? Anna Marie's onto something there. We like to do it ourselves. It's more or less new and people don't want to be left behind. I think all of that's valid. AI is far from the capability that it actually can do. The coverage is absolutely a fraction for what is currently feasible. So we're not seeing the opportunities fully in benefit for lots of different reasons. And you know what? Interestingly, there's been no systematic huge increase in unemployment due to AI for those highly exposed workers since late 2022. So the data is showing that AI can do it, but we're choosing for it not to do it. And also the negative narrative around large job losses or net decreases in opportunity isn't what the data is telling us. What happened before 2022? What was the big thing that affected all of us, particularly in work, the year before that? What was the thing that in the UK we had furlough for example, and lots of people lost their jobs? COVID. There was mass redundancies because of that. So A, the market didn't quite recover because of that. But B, we have chosen actually globally to have a net increase in opportunities related to AI over the 2 years before that. That's data from the World Economic Forum. So people that say AI is taking jobs, AI is displacing people, AI is going to be this, that, and the other, yes, there are roles being displaced, but do you know what? There's a lot more opportunities being created. Hence why there's a net increase in jobs when it comes to AI. And that's the data that lots of people don't know. So the data that shows us that there's theoretical capability, but we're making decisions to not just lay everybody off because of AI. So that tells us we're more likely to be reshaping jobs than making people redundant. We have made an active and intentional decision not just to lay everybody off, which is what we all think. Now, don't get me wrong, there are companies that have made job displacements. So last night in the UK, one of our major supermarkets, Asda, has decided to displace 1,000 jobs. And that's because of automation and machines and AI. We all know about the 14,000 roles that Amazon made redundant about 6 months ago, for example. But what we don't hear about is the opportunities like IKEA that put millions of pounds into AI, but also effectively to automate the first line of chatbots for customers coming through with queries, but put the same amount of money into those agents to give them creative design skills so they can consult with customers over the phone and online rather than just taking basic queries. We don't hear about the IKEA example, but we do hear about the Asda and the Amazon example, and that's the effect that media has on us. That's the effect of putting on the news at 6 o'clock and hearing the headlines and the clickbait and the social media. The truth is that the data is telling us reshaping is the future of work, and the future of work is now. This means opportunity, particularly for us in the learning and education space. We have a fantastic opportunity to support thinking around what does learning plans look like when we have a new organizational design. What is our opportunity to partner with AI to understand what the human does and what the AI does? It's very exciting when you think about that, but it's to do with a mindset shift. So rather than thinking about AI is there to save time, we're now thinking about AI is here to help us create value. What is the value that all of us bring in our roles? What's the value that we create for our organizations? And what's the value that we create for our friends and our family and our loved ones? That is just as important. That's the mindset shift. No longer are we just using technology like we would have done traditionally. We are now collaborating with a digital colleague, a buddy, a coach, a friend, someone to talk to in some people's. I talk to my AI all the time. It's a mindset shift. This isn't traditional technology. AI is closer to intelligence than it is to what we know of traditional tech in the way that it behaves and the bespoke responses we get. So we're not in a place where it's just about replacing jobs. The data's told us that. We're here to reimagine what work looks like, how it works for us, even more importantly, how it works for underrepresented groups, how it works for women who can't get promoted because of the culture, how it works for new young people coming into the workplace. All of the challenges that we've had culturally, AI is just starting to shine a light on this stuff. We're going to move away from silo job descriptions, where you just do a set of tasks that sits within one functionality. We're moving more into what we call skill pots, which are task related and assigned based on the need of the customer or the need of the project. So those transferable skills that we've always talked about actually become alive, and we can start to do more of the work that we love and less of the work that we don't love. But all of this must be driven by a clear organizational need. So, thinking about the changes that I've just taken you through, what kind of clear organizational needs might companies have to make the changes that I've just talked about? Why would companies start to use AI to reimagine work, to give people access to a digital colleague, to free up time for people to spend more time with the people that they love? Why would companies do stuff like that? Why would they bother? What would the organizational benefit be to giving us those kind of privileges? Let me know in the chat. Why would companies employ artificial intelligence as a strategy? What benefit does it give to them? What kind of organizational need would that meet? Let me know in the chat. What's important for companies right now? And there's no right or wrong answers here. There could be a bunch of views. To make everybody work smarter and more efficiently. Yeah, so there could be profitability goals in that based on how quickly people are working. To retain top talent from freed up from focus on the most important things. So absolutely, how can we automate the stuff that isn't effective? And how can we get those people upskilled to do more of the job on big ticket items that add more value to our clients, to effectively our bottom line, to our opportunities that we can provide people? Efficiency and quality, Evelyn says, to be a more attractive employer. Wouldn't it be great if you had an opportunity to join an organization that actively said that you can use AI to make your life better by working with that organization? And you get to choose how you shape that job. You get to choose to understand what that means. Speed and accuracy when it's mastered as well. Yeah, and there's lots of ways that us in learning and education can support those kind of conversations. But we can't just put AI in for the sake of putting AI in, right? There's got to be a core need. We've got to be clear on what the strategy means and what the benefit of that is. In learning, what we're talking about is moving from role-based competencies to skills. So what kind of skills am I talking about? So I'm talking about developing skills that are going to be agnostic of the job description that we're in and that we can apply whenever we need it. So I was with a company in Cologne a couple of weeks ago, an energy company, Hitachi. So they're in the energy sector and they're interested in what does the future of work look like in energy. So I was doing a bunch of research in regards to what do these roles look like. And rather than different types of engineers, different types of consultants, different types of salespeople, each with their own job role, job description and set of competencies, it was more around becoming AI enabled in your job. So when I say AI enabled, what comes to mind for you? Let me know in the chat. What's AI enabled? Put that in front of any kind of job title. What does that mean? Are you an AI enabled learning and development consultant? Are you an AI enabled trainer? What's an AI enabled energy engineer look like, for example? What do you think that is? Let me know in the chat. What does AI enabled mean in the job role? Okay, let's see what you got. Able to use AI to produce more and faster and of a better quality in terms of thinking, I would argue there as well. That the organization supports the use of AI in the job. So that could be AI literacy. I think that's probably the benchmark in regards to what people expect. And by the way, who here is in the European Union? How many people have we got? Just give me a little yes in the chat if you predominantly live and work in an EU country. Just let me know in the chat. Anna Marie says yes. Obviously, I have Melanie, Karen. Anyone else in an EU country?
I'm actually
Catherine.
not. I'm Switzerland now.
Oh, of course, of course. Yeah.
I'm
Why did
like
I?
you. I'm also kind of like, yeah,
Yeah, half in, half out, you know.
half in, half out.
That's all I'm seeing on my socials at the moment is the UK should rejoin the EU, and I agree personally. Evelyn says yes, EU. Frank says Germany, absolutely. So you guys, the AI, the EU AI Act will come into force in August this year. So it was created in 2024, and most of the rest of the world, for you guys that are not in the EU, that includes me in the UK, this will become a bit of a test and learn probably for the countries that you're in as well, in regards to what does a template look like. The EU AI Act comes into force in August. It was created in August 2024. And effectively, companies will start to get fined big figures of their global turnover, not just a European turnover, if their staff are not AI literate. So that means what AI is and what AI isn't. How do I use AI specifically in my role? What are the risks on using AI around data and hallucinations and quality? And what does that mean in the context of my organization and customers? So, if you're working in this space with any kind of organization that has an EU footprint, and that even means suppliers or virtual workers or whatever that means in terms of relationships in the EU, that will affect those people too. So, it's worth genning up about things like the EU AI Act. And for those, like I said, who aren't in the EU, it's worth understanding that as well because it's a good practice framework for where we are. Anyway, went off on a bit of a tangent there, but it just kind of came to me in regards to sharing that information because it's going to become very important very quickly. Organization supports the use of AI in the job. Again, that's AI literacy. I wouldn't say that's AI enabled. Know how to use AI appropriately to enhance outputs. Competent, organized to use AI. Yeah. So what I'm talking about here, moving from these generic solutions to hyper personalization, how are we using large language models as a real colleague, buddy, thought partner, decision maker? The term devil's advocate, I don't know if that translates to everybody. Having someone or something actively argue against how you normally do things. This is what I'm talking about, having it help you fulfill your role AI enabled, not just using AI on a day-to-day basis on some of your tasks, using it as a thinking partner. Organizations which are starting to scale with AI and starting to be innovative with AI, the research is telling us that they use AI as a thought partner, not just a replacement for Google search, not just a replacement for summarizing emails and writing reports. Really understanding the art of the possible of how creative you can be with AI. Now, I talked about at the beginning of the session, one of the gifts that I'm going to give you on this session. It's what I call the 10 guiding steps. We will share it very shortly in the chat. It will give you a bit of a framework of how you can start to think through in your job, either working independently or with a client or in an organization, no matter the context. If you have something like a learning need, how does that apply in terms of what the human does versus what the machine does, what the AI does versus what you do, and how you can start to work that through? And skills intelligence is a really big part of that, and we'll be talking about that as well. So I'd like about 5 minutes on this exercise, and I'm going to do an exercise called chat, hold, and send. So I want you to have a look at the question on the screen, and I'll read it out. But don't give me the answer in the chat just yet, okay? If AI can support skills development and personalized learning, which is what we hear about in terms of these AI-enabled careers, personalized learning paths, what are the key challenges in that? And what are the key opportunities in that? And I don't mind which way round you do it. So What I want you to think about is if AI is doing all this stuff, if the World Economic Forum's telling, don't share it just yet, don't share, don't share. I don't want you to give me your answers just yet. I'll tell you why in a minute. If AI can do all this stuff, if AI's helping us learn and develop and enabling us to reshape our roles and all this kind of great stuff, what are the opportunities to learn and develop and what are the challenges? So what I'd like you to do is give me an opportunity and a challenge, write it, type it in the chat box, but don't hit return. I don't want you to share it just yet. So just spend the next couple of minutes giving me what you think the opportunities are and what the challenges are. If all of this stuff is just great, what does that mean to skills development and personalized learning? No worries, Amanda, you can go ahead and connect on your laptop, no problem. So let's get something from everybody, an opportunity from everybody and a challenge from everybody. And this is more than just using AI to create training content. I want you to stretch your grey matter. I want you to think about what's the art of the possible to create these AI enabled careers that we've talked about. Don't share yet. Don't share yet. I know it's so tempting to hit return. I know. And once you've done your opportunity and your challenge, just give me a thumbs up on the reaction so I know you're ready to go. I know you've loaded your chat. Okay, we got a couple of thumbs up coming up. I'll just wait until I get a thumbs up from everyone. Okay, good. I think we're about halfway through the group. Thanks, Charlotte. Thanks, Frank. Just give it last 30 seconds. Okay, and on three, I'd like you to hit return. 1, 2, 3. Right, let me just stretch my chat up so I can see everything. I'm going to close down participants actually because that's blocking me. Brill, here we go. Okay, so bear with. I'm just going to scroll up and see what we've got. And I'm just going to read out themes rather than comments. If I don't read out your comment, do apologize. Just going to take themes. Personalized, so opportunities, personalized coaching, personalized content, identify skills gaps quicker. Love that from Pamas. Is that right? Am I pronouncing that right? Yeah, brilliant. People can learn by themselves. Brilliant. Opportunities, personalization. Love that, love that, love that. Oh, stepping into different roles and careers that you may never have thought about. That's brilliant, Charlotte. That AI enabled whatever that's going to look like. And you don't have to stay in that same career path. Like you can, by having these skills pots that we've talked about, it will open up lots of different careers that you might not even thought of, like careers that don't even exist yet, right? So, what else have we got? Opportunities, can practice with AI, absolutely brilliant. Develop better, faster, customized learning, learning on demand, brill. Okay, absolutely. So let's have a look at the challenges. Overload of information. People are a bit suspicious. Is this right? could reduce critical thinking if we're not careful, over reliance on AI. Absolutely. We're seeing a little bit of that at the moment, actually. Um, what else are we seeing? Learning could become generic if we do over rely and we don't use that critical thinking. So that's a good point as well. Da, 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 da. Ability to respond to personalized needs and aspirations. Real life situations in health are often more stressful and unpredictable. Okay. Challenges losing the human touch, possibly, Evelyn says. Yeah, absolutely. Frank says, learning on demand knowledge is available anytime. Yeah, absolutely. So we know these things are here, and it's really up to us in regards to how we feel about AI, the opportunities that we're going to grant. And in a world where the World Economic Forum tells us 66% of 8 to 11-year-olds who are in school right now, so 2/3 of kids at school, will go into a job that doesn't even exist yet. We can't even fathom what those jobs are right now. This stuff's going to be even more important because the opportunity for people to, I think Frank puts it, learning on demand, right? The democratization of knowledge that AI gives us is fantastic, but that also therefore changes the people that are facilitating knowledge and delivering knowledge, education, learning. People like us, potentially, if you are highly qualified and you teach a certain subject, for example, what does that mean in regards to the changes of how you then deliver learning and facilitate learning experiences if your students can just go and start to build their knowledge for a career through partnering with AI? It shines a light on the whole different things. So, first gift I'm going to give you is what I've already talked about. Melanie's going to very kindly put it into the chat for me for you to download. Thank you very much. It's there now. It's what I call the 10 guiding steps to getting the most from an AI learning opportunity. So I'm just going to give you a couple of minutes just to download that. And I'm just going to pause the screen and I'm going to get it up in the background. If you can't get it for whatever reason, do not worry. We will stick it on an email as well. So please do not worry about that. I'm just getting it up in the background. Oh, thanks, Melanie. Just popped that in the chat for me as well. Appreciate that. So this is a document that Andy Lancaster and I created for World of Learning last year, because people were really confused in regards to what do I do and what does the AI do? You're talking about developing learning pathways, learning needs, personalization, AI-enabled careers. This will give you an opportunity to take a step-by-step kind of forensic approach based on a learning need that you might have with a client, with an organization, whatever it is. It might be around how do you transfer that learning and what part of this point can help with that, for example. And you can effectively score each criteria against your learning needs. So the first one there, number one, clarify, right? Define the real business challenge. Ask the right questions. That is clearly a human task. Now, what you can do, of course, is send out a survey or some questions as part of that. But the real clarification of what the actual need is comes from you, the human. You can use the AI to look at the patterns, analyze the data, look at previous evaluation information, look what's worked at training programs in the past and what hasn't worked, for example, and why. All that skills intelligence in regards to what that means. You then talk about tracking. What does success look like for this learning program, for example? Start with the end in mind. What could get in the way? What outcomes really matter? That's a human conversation to have. Again, you can look at the data to understand what are the metrics, what moved and what didn't move and why. Then you go into focus. judge the opportunities best aligned with the strategy and the culture. So we talked about a clear strategical need to use AI. So really get under the skin of what that means. How can AI support this learning need? And then use AI to rank and simulate options to see what would work and what couldn't work. You get the gist. I'm not going to kind of walk through each one. You've got it, it's downloadable. But what I'd like you to do is potentially after today's session, think about a recent learning need that you might have, a client might have, an opportunity to do things differently. And think if you'd had something like this, what would that have meant in regards to how you could bring AI into your learning solution, how it could help you do more of the work that you love and have the AI do perhaps the stuff that you don't love so much. There's some really good guidance there for you to take, and that's yours. That's a present from me. If you want to learn a little bit about my organizations, there's a QR code there for you as well. So I hope that's helpful. Let me just go back to my slides. Okay. So that's your first present, okay? You've got 2 more to come. Can you believe it? 2 more. We've got 20 minutes left. Okay. This one's on me. This isn't one of the presents that I thought about, but I want you to think about when you're working with AI in particular, when you're partnering with AI, I want you to prompt like you mean it. Now, the amount of people that kind of put a one-liner into Copilot or ChatGPT or Claude, and they expect the AI to work wonders. And then they get demotivated when they don't get the outcome that they'd hoped they had. And this is important because this is about people's motivation to engage with AI, but understand that it needs collaboration and human intelligence, not just a kind of one line and you're done and oh, it's a load of rubbish, I'm not going to use it again. So I want you to prompt like you mean it after today. This is my strategy. This is my intentional way of working with AI. I believe AI drafts, human crafts. That is my strategy. That's how I deliberately work with artificial intelligence. And if you haven't thought about what that means to you in your role and what you major on, have a think. Have a think. What is my relationship with AI? How do I approach working with ChatGPT? What's the principle that I employ in working with large language models? Some people would default everything to a large language model. That's not how I would work personally, because you get things like work slop, for example, where you get hallucinations or perhaps stuff's kicked out. Oh, Belinda, we can hear you. Just put yourself on mute if that's all right. Braille, thank you. To get the best outcome for you, for your work, for your family life, for your home life, personal life, clients, whatever that might be, think about what your AI strategy is. And then think about the best way to prompt. This is my prompt framework. You are very welcome to steal this. I share this in most of my talks because I think it's a really practical thing for people to take away. So when I write a prompt, so the instruction that I give the large language model, the first thing I'll ask it to do is to adopt a persona. Why do I want the AI to adopt a persona? And a persona could be a job or a personality type or a way of communicating or some experience. Why do I want to give it a persona? Why do I bother telling the AI to act in a certain way? Let me know in the chat. And if you do this already, let me know as well. Okay, Charlotte says, I was reminded that AI is like a really intelligent child. You need to give it direction. Yeah, Charlotte, spot on. Why do we give it a persona? Why do we tell it to act like a marketing manager? Act like the most creative learning and development design consultant you've ever met. Gives more tailored responses. What else does it give us? You can get more specific content as a response. Absolutely. It also gives you better quality. So a lot of people worry about hallucinations and duff information that AI can give you. It will naturally start critically thinking better the more context and more information you can give it, because it's trained on billions of pieces of training data. To give it, to gather what data it needs, yes, absolutely. Context. This is the meaty middle part of your prompt. This is the bit where you're probably most likely to not give it the information it actually needs because we assume that it knows a bunch of stuff already. But if you've given it a marketing manager persona, it might be that you're asking it to look for a certain set of information, a certain graphic, a certain tone of writing, whatever it might be. But also, you want it to ignore the stuff that you don't want to pick up as well. So, you know how AI text writes in a certain way right now? It's not this, it's this. Great question. Don't forget to, all of this stuff that we get from ChatGPT at the moment. If you're a marketing manager using AI, you want to tell your AI not to write like AI. Okay. So that's what I mean, is being really clear in terms of the context. And then the outcome could be that you want a marketing plan, for example, for an organization in the manufacturing sector in the UK, and you're selling a certain type of car, and you need to market to a certain type of customer, and it needs to be a marketing campaign to run for 12 months, and you want it in British English, etc., 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 etc. The more information you give your AI, the better. This is what I mean at like prompting like you mean it. It's like a sausage machine. Rubbish sausage ingredients in, rubbish sausage out. Good sausage ingredients in, good sausage out. Same with prompting. That's what I want you to think about. And if that's the one thing you take away from today, then fantastic. I'm aware I'm throwing a lot at you with this, but I want you to really think about what this means for you going forwards. And that's why you've got the downloadable sheets as well that we've given you. So your second gift for today, I want you to think about skills intelligence. And what I mean by that is working with the AI to understand what else is happening around skills when you're working with a customer. What else is the data telling us that's impactful or not impactful in your sector, in your country, with competitors, with other organizations, and using your AI as a partner to give you that kind of intelligence. Now, there's another downloadable in the chat for you. What I've given you there is some skills intelligence prompts that I've already written in the PCO framework that we've just talked about. So I've given you examples of persona, context, outcome that you can download as a bit of a template and start to use that in the skills intelligence way. Because it's important for us, if we're reshaping work that we talked about at the beginning, if we're becoming AI enabled, if we've got our skills pots and we're moving away from job descriptions and all the stuff that we talked about already, it's important for you to lift up how you look at the world of skills and learning. You look at what's working and what isn't working. You understand what that means on a geography, a global level, a sector level, whatever that is. And you can look at the whole training, learning cycle from that perspective using this as well. So that's your second gift for today. Your third gift is a discount code for my book. So I write a lot about AI and skills, AI and human resources, and my book AI for People Professionals came out last month. You can get it on Amazon, you can get it on Kogan Page. If you buy it directly from Kogan Page, stick in Kogan Page 25 into the coupon box, the discount code box, and you'll get 25% off. And Melanie says it's an amazing book, so thank you very, very much. I've just thrown a bunch of topics at you today that I hope is coherent in terms of this is where we are, this is where the data is telling us, this is what the noise is. The noise isn't always true. This is how we can start to work with AI. This is how we can be intelligent with AI. This is the skills that we can use to use AI, and this is the outcome that it can give you. So I hope that's been helpful. I hope you've got some questions, because we've got a little bit of time to cover for questions as well. Thank you very much for your amazing interaction on the chat. I can't believe it's gone that quickly. And I'm going to turn my slides off, go back to Melanie, and we'll take some questions.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Erica. And before I'll open it up and kind of see, you can collect your thoughts and, of course, put your questions into the chat. But you can also raise your hand and come off mute. We love to hear your voices. I just kind of want to share with you, Erica, and you and I had this conversation just a few I guess days ago in our podcast. I think it's just really amazing, especially for this community that works so much around transfer and making sure learning gets applied. Seeing that sheet that you shared about the human intelligence and the artificial intelligence is really reassuring. You can really see how the work of a transfer designer is still very human, but you
Yeah.
can do it better if you collaborate with artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
And so I think that's just kind of encouraging
Yes,
and
absolutely. And I think,
validating to see.
well, and don't be someone who feels that you have to do it all, right?
No.
Don't feel like you have to own it all and it's cheating or it's, plagiarism, or like really tap into that other thought partner that you've got with, because transfer is one of the most challenging pieces of the cycle. We're naturally good at talking to people. We're
Yeah.
naturally good at delivering training. We're naturally good at, assessing knowledge. Actually, it's a really fundamental piece that starts right at the beginning, right? So,
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, feel free to share your questions, comments, if anyone has. Oh, Anna Marie has put something into the chat.
great. Do you already see AI learning agents that sort of do the work of the traditional e-learning, but you can learn by interacting with an agent? Okay, so you're kind of, well, yeah, I know lots of people that role play already with generative AI. That's something I've been talking about for quite a long time now. And it's whether it's using it as that kind of tutor, coach, facilitator. Again, Melanie and I was talking about this on the podcast. Kind of honing your skills in the moment and practicing with AI. And also, when you say traditional e-learning, do you mean, Anne-Marie, that kind of AI building the e-learning? Or tell me a
Can
bit
I
more.
just speak like this instead of
Yeah.
typing?
Yeah, that would be great. That would be great.
Well, my idea is, so we already have avatars in our e-learnings where you
Yep.
can practice skills with.
Yep.
So for
Yep.
example, if you do an e-learning on how to give a presentation, then you can also try this with an avatar.
Yep.
But what I'm looking for is more like a chatbot that you could practice with, but also that says, hey, if you want to learn more about this, here's a video you should watch. So it's the e-learning that we basically already have, but then more in a chatbot way with
Yeah.
all the interaction in there. So it
Yeah.
feels more personal, but it's
Yeah.
still the same content.
So it's still so it directs you to relevant resources, do you mean, as part of
Yeah.
that? I mean, Melanie and I have also talked about this, that kind of agent piece, right? That kind of sometimes there's so much content that actually you want exactly that little piece of learning right there, right? Yes. So yes, there is absolutely platforms doing that now. There's agents that you can build into stuff that will absolutely go and get that specific piece of information that you need rather than trying to troll through stuff. Melanie, you're doing that right now, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So we are rebuilding the entire transfer toolbox that we have with the AI agent to exactly so you can prompt it, ask it questions in any language, and it straight away directs you to that relevant piece so that you don't have to go and look for it. So I think that's very much there. It takes some effort, especially when you need multilingual, and especially also on our content that's highly specialized. You have to train the AI. If not, it's not going to give you the right answers. But it's absolutely there. And I mean, if you ever look for someone, I kind of got connected to a few people through Erica. There are people out there who do a really, really good job. It requires a lot of
I'm sort of
indexing, of
looking
course,
for,
of your content. But yeah, feel free to reach out.
yeah, if there's any tooling that you could integrate in any LMS
Yeah.
that you
Yeah.
can program,
Yeah.
that's always good to know.
Yeah.
great question.
There's also a question, kind of an interesting one, a very different, Erica, from Armand in Cameroon. What is your thought about an employer who clearly believes that if the employees are using AI, they don't need to be, paying them the salary as before? I know, I was expecting that face from you.
It was almost like the emoji face that's just gone on
Yeah.
there.
But I mean, I've heard it's actually true. I mean, I've heard this before as well, you know. So I
Really?
mean, since
Wow.
and it's interesting when you think about what you spoke about at the beginning, that it's not about AI replacing, but it's about freeing up time. And I know you
Yeah.
use the word the AI dividend a lot.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
what's the AI dividend I get? Well, I can, and I see that with my own work now in evaluation, I don't have to do some of the heavy lifting of number crunching in Excel sheets. I can use AI to analyze the data and then spend more time in the boardroom with executives discussing the data, which is
Yeah.
much more meaningful. But I guess this is the challenge. You and I spoke about that mindset around
Yeah.
AI.
Yeah. If we're saying that we're not paying people a salary or paying people more, then that's a massive cultural issue in itself. That's
Yeah.
not an AI issue. That's like, I wouldn't even want to give a word to someone who makes those kind of decisions for their employees, if I'm honest. And it is that piece that Melanie's talked about. Organizations that will win are organizations that do the hearts and minds, enable people to connect with this technology and understand what the personal benefits are. Now, I'm not saying that they're the organizations that are not going to make job displacements. They could still make redundancies. But again, it's the hearts and minds, it's the leadership communication, it's the intention, it's the, we are making efficiencies potentially because of that. And we know that's happening. But we are going to upskill you, invest in you, do the employability piece to enable you to take the next step, either in that organization or a different organization. So that's still part of the conversation. We're not hiding behind the fact that AI is like not going to take jobs. It will, but it will create more opportunities. And it's the leadership and the companies that understand that and do that with care and love and great communication are the companies that are going to win with this stuff.
Yeah.
Good question.
Yeah. Any other questions or thoughts also kind of in the transfer spirit? What kind of, what resonated most with you in this kind of talk? What got you thinking? And what are
Yeah, that would
maybe
be
some
great
of
to
your
know.
next steps after this? What are
Yeah.
some of your thoughts that you have?
Yeah, what are you going to do differently as a result of today? Let us know in the chat.
I can tell you, I'm going to definitely. I know I got exposed to your prompting scheme last year already, and then I kind of used it. Now, I just as you kind of talk me through it again, I realize, I need to do a better job at that persona piece.
And I'm doing a lot around women in AI at the moment, actually, and we're seeing a 20 to 30% reduction take up of women using AI versus men. Most reports are between that figure, for lots of different reasons. Men tend to will have less inhibition in trying stuff. They'll have more reward-seeking behaviors, like praise for doing new things. Women have imposter syndrome and this kind of stuff. But actually, like, it's all of our responsibilities to prompt in a way that helps to train and represent the data in large language models, because it's still biased and it's still skewed. So we know by using a good prompt framework, it actually supports the AI to think in a more critical, balanced way rather than just going to what it's always done. So actually the data is starting, the AI behavior is starting to change the human behavior, which is interesting in itself. So
yeah. Because that was, just out of curiosity, it was a comment by Charlotte made earlier. And didn't surprise me, since Charlotte does a lot of work, if I may say so, in the diversity inclusion space as well. And there's a lot of this conversation around, does AI create a divide as well? What about the ones that don't have access? What are your thoughts on that?
great question. I think it shines a massive light on inequity as a whole. As digital did previous to AI. We knew there was digital poverty. Again, COVID was an example of that, where kids were at home and some of them didn't have accesses to, let alone a laptop, Wi-Fi or a phone, or all that kind of stuff. So absolutely, for me, AI is shining a light on cracks that are already there in society. So it's a societal thing. This stuff is. And it doesn't leave anywhere to hide. whether you're a poor manager, a poor leader, whether there's issues around diversity, inclusion, bias, it's surfacing everything. And I think that is why some people are quite nervous, because it's surfacing what's going on for them as well in regards to how they behave day to day, let alone with AI. So it's quite a big picture answer. But yeah, I think the gender bias thing in itself, I've just been writing around it recently for a client, is particularly interesting because it's not a women's issue, it's a society's issue. And we've got to make the most of giving everybody who doesn't typically have those opportunities more opportunities to access that. It's not about treating everybody the same. It's about giving the shorter people a bigger box so they can look over the fence, right? Because the tall people don't need a box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you see there's an interesting comment by Catherine kind of saying about the gender bias, that if you don't prompt properly and you kind of ask about an image for coaching, very often the AI will give you an image of a man coaching a woman.
Yep.
And it's interesting. My husband is an actor and a screenwriter, and he wrote a play, and he created songs and music is also with the help of AI, of course. And he explored exactly that, the bias of AI as well, in the gender bias. Because if you just leave it open, but again, as he said, that's not a problem of AI per se. That's what we've been feeding. It just shows, it exposes, as you said, society, how we've been thinking. I think the same is, and so I mean, I can say that my husband is a person of color. That's the same. Like he never, if he doesn't prompt properly, he never gets an AI image of color.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
there is a big chunk. I see Armand kind of smiling at me. It's a fact that there's a big portion of our planet where people are of color, and the AI just doesn't take that into consideration.
Yep.
It's interesting. Yeah. It's interesting.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Which is why it's more important that all of us use it in a way that's representative of what we need in the way that we need it, that personal use as well as that professional use.
Yeah.
It's massive, this stuff, and I don't think we quite realize that yet.
No.
So I just hope we don't sleepwalk into this like we did with some of the social media and internet stuff.
Absolutely.
That's my concern personally. So
yeah. I'm going to give you the word in a moment, Armand, but since we are at the top of the hour, I just want to officially, so that people don't feel guilty, because I know people have to drop out, and some of them have already said massive thanks in the chat, especially for your generosity, Erica. So it looks like a lot of things that people want to do is kind of use your prompting framework and just kind of be a little bit less lazy, to steal Alex's words on prompting. I do it more carefully, but also use those 10 kind of, steps that you shared, or aspects of kind of rethinking where the opportunity is. And, just to kind of wrap this up from a transfer perspective, I think there's a real opportunity for all of us wanting to make more transfer happen. One of the biggest excuses I get so often from people coming to our program is, where do I get the time to design these transfer journeys? Well, my answer, very short, is AI can give you that time, because AI can, if you use it, it can actually do some of those other jobs for you. It can support you, and it can really free up some of your time for that, transfer work of working with the supervisors, those high touch things where you need the human touch. Yeah. So thank you, everyone. Those of you who need to log off, will wave goodbye, and we'll see you maybe for another event. But Armand, you had your hand up before, so maybe, Erica, do you have an extra 1 minute for that?
Of course, absolutely.
Perfect.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, just a short comment as far as the color is concerned, and the gap between those who have and those who don't have. I believe that AI can reduce that gap as well. That's what I wanted to say.
Yeah. As long as we've got the right mindset, we use it in the right way, we're aware, we appreciate there's a gap, we don't judge it, we don't make excuses, we do it in the right way. I'm absolutely with you. Thank you so much. And anybody, if we're not connected on LinkedIn, please send me a connection request. I'd be very happy to accept that as well.
Yeah, wonderful. Great. So thank you so much, everyone. And thank you mainly to you also, Erica, for just giving us a lot to think about. Because I think there's so much, there's either a lot of negativity around AI, I feel, or then there's just everything is great. And I think what you do just really well is you give a very balanced view on it that
Good,
invites
thank you.
everyone to kind of think about it. What does it mean for me? And I think that's just very important. Just like with anything in transfer, it starts with the WIFM. What's in it for me? We got to kind of work that out.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. So thank you, everyone, for being with us. Regina, I see you so soon. I can't wait. I'm meeting her for the first time in person in Brazil on Sunday.
Amazing.
I'm like absolutely super excited. I've known her for so long.
How exciting.
Very excited too.
I know.
We'll be together soon.
Have a wonderful time, you two.
We will. And so thank you, everyone. And thank you once more, Erica. And of course, I will send the recording to everyone a little bit later, probably tomorrow.
Thank you so much, everyone. Great to meet you. Have a great rest of the day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.